Welcome to Episode 8 of Run the Length. Before we get into the episode, I want to point you to my Patreon. For just $5 a month, you get Guild Ball Gotchas a month before everyone else. My opponent this week is Pat VanValue, a host of Strictly the Worst Guild Ball podcast, which I recently joined as a permanent member. Check out our latest episode where we talk about standoffs and dark horsing. Links are in the description. At the time of this recording, Pat is ranked number 3 in the United States and 15th in the world. We select plots. I end up with wingback, good marker, and brace for impact. Pat's plots are match fixing, who are ya, and knee slider. The terrain on this board is 2 obstacles at the top of the screen, then moving down we have rough terrain, 2 more obstacles, and fast terrain at the bottom. We move to team selection. My roster is Midas, Smoke, Flask, Nausea, Vitriol, Harry, Catalyst, Compound, Calculus, and Crucible. After the organized play document change, this is the roster I have settled on. It is a core of Vitriol, Catalyst, Harry, then can flex from there based on the matchup. We blind select captains and mascots. I pick Midas and Flask, while he selects Tapper and Scum. Pat is probably the best Tapper player in the country, and plays him in nearly every matchup. He considers Alchemists one of the toughest matchups for Brewers, so it makes sense that he would play what he is most confident with. I play Midas here largely due to how powerful he is into everything. The feat will be really good on turn 1 if I receive. I also feel like I need Lure of Gold to be able to pick the fight and not be forced into an unfavorable engagement. Pat wins the roll to go first and chooses to receive. I feel like with this matchup this is the most important role of the game. If I start with the ball, all I have to worry about is the Pat Cat. Check out episode 2 of Guild Ball Gotchas for more information on the Pat Cat. And I essentially get to start the game up 4 points. Pat opens the draft with Harry, and I quickly counter with my own Harry. Pat picks Spigot. Spigot is one of the 2 linchpins in Pat's style of Brewer play, the other being Tapper. Spigot is the player that he spends the game trying to set up that can just do an absurd amount of damage. On top of being personally dangerous, he is also the faction's speed buff, with times called, and their tooled up model. I pick Catalyst. Catalyst is absurdly strong at the moment, and combos really well with Harry. Pat picks Friday. I rarely see Pat play without Friday. What makes her such a strong pick is 2 things. 1, she can act as a second Spigot in a pinch, dealing tons of damage if properly set up. And 2, can threaten a 20-inch goal with just 2 influence, which happens to be the exact number that old Jakes gives. I pick Vitriol. Pat picks Mash. Mash is a key part of Pat's path to victory. Mash is the best ball-killing model in Brewers. 2-inch Unpredictable is very good at keeping Alchemists off the ball. My final pick is my flex slot. I think there are 2 good picks here, Calculus and Compound. I decided to play Compound in this matchup as a way to keep his non-Friday goal threats at bay. Plus, if I need to bring him up the board, he has reach and can threaten to take the ball off of Mash. I deploy tight in the middle. From top to bottom, I have Harry, Compound, Vitriol who is kicking, Flask, Catalyst, and Midas. Pat deploys wide to be able to recover the ball no matter where I kick it to. He has Friday at the top, then moving down we have Spigot, Harry, Tapper, Scum, and Mash. I move Vitriol up to kick. I am thinking that if I place the ball just over the line, that the only person that will be able to come get it will be Spigot, and taking out Spigot early would be a big deal. I kick the ball just a few inches in front of Vitriol. My placement here is a pretty big mistake. What I should have done is kick it straight forward rather than at an angle. That way I reduce the number of failed directions. The kick is accurate and I use my reroll, but both places it ends up are on my side of the board, so Pat gets to place it wherever he wants. Pat places the ball on Harry. Pat allocates. He places 6 on Tapper, 2 on Spigot, 2 on Harry, 1 on Scum, 1 on Mash, 1 on Friday. I allocate. I place 4 on Vitriol so we can use her kickoff pressure, 4 on Catalyst so we can be dangerous with Lure of Gold, 3 on Midas for sprint and lure, 1 on Harry, and 1 on Compound. Pat activates Harry and kicks the ball to Scum, places a fire AoE in between Scum and Vitriol, and jogs just behind Tapper. I activate Flask, jog him up to Vitriol, then place his cloud on her. Pat activates Scum. Scum dodges from Shadowlike, then jogs towards Spigot, and passes the ball to him. The kick is good, and Pat uses Harry's aura to dodge Spigot just outside of 13 inches from Vitriol. Here I look at the board, and I think Pat has made a crucial error. It seems like I can get Vitriol to Spigot by push dodging off the cat. I decide to go for it and activate Vitriol. I sprint Vitriol to Scum and attack. This is better than charging because if Pat uses defensive stance, my chances of success go way down. The attack hits the push dodge, and Vitriol pushes Scum away and dodges into Spigot. Vitriol buys an attack and tackles the ball. Then she takes a shot on goal, which she gets. The score is now 4-0. I spend momentum that I gained to run the length towards the top of the screen. This is a pretty big mistake since I should have just admitted that Vitriol was dead. Pat kicks out the ball and it scatters between Mash and Tapper. Pat activates Mash and kicks the ball to Tapper, who dodges off of Harry's aura. I activate Compound and put up Horrific Odor, then jog him forward, keeping him in Rush Keeper range. Pat activates Tapper and passes the ball to Spigot, then uses Harry's aura to dodge towards Vitriol. Tapper buys an attack and deals 1 damage. Tapper's second swing does a knockdown. Tapper's third attack puts up Commanding Aura. Tapper's fourth attack does a momentous 4 damage. Tapper's final attack deals momentous 4 damage, leaving Vitriol on 3 boxes. I activate Harry and jog him up and throw a Molotov. Pat activates Spigot and jogs him towards Mash, then passes him the ball. Mash dodges, but is not within Harry's aura, so Pat has to pay for it. I activate Midas and sprint him forward, then use Lure of Gold on Catalyst to pull him forward. Pat activates Friday, uses Shadow-like, and a jog to get into base contact with Vitriol, then attacks. She wraps by 2, dealing momentous push and 2 damage. I activate Catalyst and sprint him so that he is outside of the base threat of Tapper, but can go after both Harry and Spigot next turn. This ends the turn. Pat automatically gets to go first due to his momentum lead. Pat allocates. He places 4 on Harry, 1 on Mash, 2 on Spigot, 6 on Tapper. I allocate. I place 4 on Catalyst, 6 on Midas, and 4 on Harry. Pat activates Harry and tries to goad Catalyst, which he misses. This is a pretty big deal, since if he hits this he can effectively kill Catalyst's influence, and I can't run him away to safety. Harry jogs up to Catalyst, uses Crazy, and buys an attack. Harry's attack does 3 momentous damage and a knockdown. His second attack does momentous 3 and a double push, and moves Catalyst towards Tapper. His final attack does momentous 2 and a double push, and moves Catalyst towards Scum. I think this activation was a bit of a mistake for Pat, since he has allowed me to attempt a goal run with Midas. I activate Midas. Unfortunately, I am out of range to sprint then heroic to Mash, so I charge Harry with the intention of bouncing off of him to get to Mash. Pat declares a counterattack. Midas's attack gets 5 hits after armor, and I choose knockdown. I think this is a pretty big mistake. I think I should have taken the double push double dodge and gone straight to Mash. Midas attacks Harry again, doing momentous 1 damage push dodge, triggering Rising Anger. The push dodge gets Midas in range to use his heroic that allows him to get to Mash. Midas uses his heroic, then buys an attack on Mash. Pat declares a counterattack. I only get 1 hit though, so I dodge into base. Mash's counterattack misses. Midas attacks again and tackles the ball. Midas uses his legendary and takes the shot on goal. It's a 1 dice shot, so I bonus time it to 2 dice, and miss it. The ball scatters right back to Mash. This is a huge disaster caused by some bad dice and some poor decisions. If I had taken the double dodge to Harry, I could have gotten to Mash with 1 more influence, and had been able to use Super Shot to get closer to the goal for a tap-in. I also could have used it to push Harry away from Catalyst. Pat activates Tapper and attacks Vitriol, killing her. The score is now 4-2. Tapper charges Catalyst. I don't play Brace for Impact here, which is a fairly big mistake. Tapper does Commanding Aura and 1 damage. Pat spends 2 momentum to stand Harry back up and attacks Catalyst again, doing 6 damage and 1 momentum. Tapper takes his third attack against Catalyst with bonus time, and does 6 damage and 1 momentum. Tapper takes his last attack with bonus time and deals 6 damage to Catalyst, killing him, bringing the score to 4-4. Tapper ends his activation after using his heroic on Mash. Losing Catalyst here is a big deal. Not only does this kill the 4 influence on Catalyst, but it also prevents me from spending Harry's influence in any meaningful way, and it would not have been possible had I not played Midas's activation so poorly. I activate Flask, jog him forward, then place his smoke cloud. Pat activates Scum and uses Shadow-like to get into melee with Midas. I activate Compound and jog him up the field since I don't think Pat is going to take a goal until he can win the game. Pat activates Friday, uses Shadow-like, then jogs next to Spigot. I activate Harry, sprint up Harry and throw a Molotov at the Cat and Tapper, only hitting Tapper. Pat activates Mash and attacks Midas doing a momentous push. Mash attacks a second time and does a How's At. Mash's last attack does a single push to place Midas in base contact with Tapper and Scum. Mash then jogs to seal Midas in so that he can't use Unpredictable to move away. This essentially guarantees that Midas is dead. Pat activates Spigot, unsnaps the ball, and has Friday pick it up. Then Spigot jogs to base with Midas and attacks. He does 3 damage to Midas. Spigot buys his second attack and deals 2 damage to Midas, leaving Midas on 9 boxes. This ends the turn. Brewers lead the momentum race 4-0 and win the initiative roll. Pat chooses to go first. Pat allocates. Pat places 4 on Spigot, 3 on Harry, 6 on Tapper. I allocate. I walk Catalyst back on the board at the bottom of the screen, and Vitriol at the top to try to limit the space where Pat can hide the ball. I place 4 on Harry, 2 on Flask, 4 on Compound, 2 on Catalyst, and 2 on Vitriol. Pat activates Spigot and attacks Midas, wrapping by 2, dealing 5 damage and gaining 1 momentum. Spigot attacks again, wrapping by 4, dealing 3 damage and a double push, generating 2 momentum. Spigot takes his third attack, killing Midas momentously. The score is now 4-6. With his last influence, Spigot tools up Tapper. Spigot then jogs over to Friday and uses his heroic Time's Called. I activate Harry and jog to Pat's Harry. I use Crazy and swing. Pat declares a counterattack. Harry does a momentous knockdown. Harry attacks again, doing momentous 2 damage double push. I push him towards Catalyst so I can use Wing Back off of Catalyst to put him down. Harry's third attack does momentous 2 double push, sending him farther towards Catalyst. Harry's final attack does momentous 3 double push, moving him into walk range of both Compound and Catalyst. Pat activates Harry. He spends 1 momentum to shake conditions and jogs to max reach of my Harry, then declares an attack. I declare a counterattack. I decide to do this to force him to take the knockdown. Pat only gets 2 hits through armor, and double push pushes Harry into base, blocking Catalyst's path to Harry. I bonus time my counterattack, knowing that I need to kill this influence to get back in the game. I wrap by 1, dealing 3 knockdown and push. I activate Flask and charge knockdown Harry. Pat decides to declare a defensive stance. I wrap by 2 and decide to do momentous intensify push twice, taking Harry down to 1 HP and sending him back towards Catalyst. This also puts 2 damage on Tapper. Pat activates Tapper, shakes conditions, and uses Old Jake's on Friday. Tapper jogs to melee of Harry and takes a parting blow from Flask, but none of Flask's results can do anything to Tapper. Tapper swings on Harry. I take a counter here because I'm hoping to dice my way back into this game. Pat's dice don't fail him again, and he momentously knocks down Harry. Tapper's second attack does Commanding Aura. Tapper's third attack does momentous 5 damage, triggering Rising Anger. Tapper's fourth attack does 5 momentous damage. Tapper's fifth attack wraps by 1 and does 8 damage and generates 1 momentum, leaving Harry on 1 box. Tapper's final attack does momentous 5 damage, killing Harry. The score is now 8-4. I activate Compound and jog him to Harry. Compound attacks Harry, doing a momentous double push. Compound's second attack does momentous double push. Compound's third attack does momentous single push. Compound's last attack does momentous double push, putting me 1 ahead on the momentum race. I made another critical error here. I recognize the need to go first next turn will likely decide the game, but I have forgotten that Tapper used Old Jake's on Friday, so he is threatening to end the game this turn. One of the reasons to take Compound is to be able to interact in this exact situation. If Compound had jogged forward and put up Horrific Odor, she would not be in goal threat, since she would only be able to jog. Pat activates Friday. Friday uses Shadow-like and sprints towards the goal. Friday uses her Heroic and shoots on goal with bonus time. She sinks the 5-die goal and Pat wins the game, final score 12-4. A few key mistakes really governed the outcome of this game. The mistakes during a key Midas activation and Pat allowing Vitriol to bounce off the cat were the biggest of the game, in my opinion. But here I would like to pass the question off to you. What were our mistakes this game? Would you have made different decisions during the game? Let me know in the comments down below. Hit that like button, it helps other Guild Ball players find this video. Hit the subscribe button to know the moment I upload a new video. And share this video with your friends. I'm Vincent Curkov, and this has been Run the Length.